you go. Please. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. I'd also like to thank Congressman Gottheimer for all his support in the past and his continued support. We're very thankful and we value everything you do for the Inglewood Fire Department and for the fire service in general. I'd now like to introduce Senator Senator Johnson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Gordon Johnson. I don't know, watch. Good morning, everyone. And let us pay our respects to this fine country. So, the flag is there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I just want to briefly say that as an elected official, it's our responsibility to save lives and save livelihoods. And Congressman Gottheimer has done that over and over again. Saving lives, protecting those who do the job, who save the lives, and also protecting the public of the 5th Congressional District and the state of New Jersey. I'll close with that, and who's up? I'll bring on Matt Caliente. Where are you, Matt? There you go.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here with us in Englewood. I especially want to thank the 2 Englewood fire unions, the firefighters and fire officers, for joining us today. They are the men and women who put it all on the line for this community and the families around it every single day. We're here today to address the serious consequences of the Trump administration's cuts and their impact on the fire service. Critical support programs for firefighters are being slashed as we speak. Funding for the National Firefighter Cancer Registry, a vital tool for tracking firefighter job-related cancer that's killing our firefighters at a higher rate every single year. Firefighters already face a substantial higher risk of developing cancer compared to the general population. And we need these vital records to help identify the links between the job and the diseases that are taking too many of our brothers and sisters too soon. NIOSH line of duty death inspection teams canceled. These teams investigate firefighter fatalities and serious incidents, helping departments nationwide learn from tragedies and improve operations and prevent further death. Without them, these critical lessons are lost. National Fire Academy classes canceled. The NFA, the National Fire Academy, provides advanced leadership, strategy, and technical training that firefighters rely on to keep themselves and their communities safe. Cutting these classes weakens the entire fire service. These cuts have real consequences for our safety, for our health, and for the future of the fire service. We appreciate the members of Congress who are working to restore these critical programs and protect the firefighter health and safety. Today, we are fortunate yet again to hear from one of the strongest voices down in D.C. that has fought with us over and over again, someone who has constantly worked on the issues that matter to our profession. It is my honor to introduce Congressman Josh Gottheimer.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt, for your phenomenal leadership at PFA&J. Very grateful for all you do for all of us and for the state and for all the members here and the whole fire service. Incredibly grateful, Deputy Chief Hummel. Thank you so much for welcoming me, for your words, and for all you do for, I lost you there, all you do for the service as well, all you do for our community, for the county, for our great state, as well as everybody here. Please know how much I appreciate you, how much we all appreciate you. I'm grateful for all you do to protect us every single day. So thank you to you. Thank you. People behind me work around the clock, as you've heard me say, standing in this firehouse before, to protect not just Englewood, but to protect New Jersey, protect our families from fire, from terror, from emergency health issues, you name it, they're there, day in, day out. I do want to speak, of course, and acknowledge the wildfires have been raging throughout our state, obviously, and you've seen the images from Ocean County. According to reports, the Jones Road wildfire is on pace to become the largest wildfire in our state's history. As of Sunday, the fire has been 65% contained, no thanks to the great work of our firefighters and first responders. There's been no reported injuries or death, which is really incredible. Again, a testament to the great work of our firefighters across the state. This is, again, something that just to me is a reminder of why we need the best like we have behind me to protect us every single day. And whether it's in a forest or in a warehouse or in a home, these heroes answer the siren at a moment's notice to protect innocent lives. They never hesitate to answer the call, putting themselves in harm's way to protect our families and communities, not only from fires, but also floods, terror, natural disasters, and other threats to our homeland, as I mentioned. And we can't forget the critical work that you do on the EMT front, and we know we've got incredible EMTs who help protect in this community as well. I know this because, listen, Bob Hoffman's here and does an amazing job as a city manager, making sure all of this gets organized. But none of this is easy, and the chief here also does an amazing job. But let's be honest, as ready as you are for every challenge, even on a good day, you and all of our departments are often left fighting for resources to protect our communities. And it can't be tough, and it's tough enough without having to fight for extra resources, but we know that's what you got to do your job safely and effectively to protect yourself and protect our communities. Making things worse, right now our brave firefighters are facing a new blaze that many are working around the clock to put out. Significant cuts from the Trump administration, who, as part of their chaos, are kneecapping the World Trade Center health program and gutting the National Firefighter Cancer Registry program, which was created by bipartisan legislation that I helped get signed into law to help track incidents of cancer among firefighters, to better understand its causes, and give departments information to better protect our bravest. It's unacceptable. We are here today to sound the alarm, to make it clear that we will get your backs, that we will fight back against these cuts to the health and safety of our firefighters and first responders. Everyone knows about the immediate danger our firefighters face when they run into a building. What's often not talked about, and Matt was just talking about this a little bit, but what happens when you come home after putting out the fire? Between 2002 and 2019, cancer caused 66% of professional firefighter line of duty deaths. 66%. In fact, firefighters have a 14% higher risk of dying from cancer than the general public. What happens? It's not just on the uniforms, it's of course what you breathe in when you go into a fire, because of the chemicals that come off of pretty much everything these days, right? Whatever it's made with, whatever it's lined with, that affects you, it gets on your uniforms, and you breathe it in. We've seen this with our 9/11 first responders, not only the nearly 3,000 that died on that tragic day, but 746, by the way, from New Jersey, but also those who are still getting sick and still dying from working on the pile. That includes Richard Kubler from Hackensack, Clifford Russell Jr. from Fairview, and Neil Hallman from Voorhees. That's why even 24 years after that tragic day, we must continue to get the backs of 9/11 first responders and their families. So it makes zero sense to me that the Trump administration would turn their backs on first responders and on the families of fallen heroes and gut these programs. Last week, the administration gutted the workforce at the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, NIOSH, the agency that supports the World Trade Center health program. They provide medical care for more than 137,000 9/11 survivors and first responders, which is now more than double the amount when the program started helping in 2011. Again, I want to make this point very clear, what I just talked about. They're literally stopping and gutting a program that supports the World Trade Center health program. Why would you do that? NIOSH also oversees the National Firefighter Cancer Registry, which, as I mentioned, helps to track incidents of cancer among firefighters, to better understand its causes, and to give departments information to better protect our bravest. Right now, under the National Firefighter Cancer Registry page on the CDC's website, it says, and I quote, "Due to the reduction in force across NIOSH, firefighters can no longer enroll in the National Firefighter Registry for cancer. Why would we do that? Why would the administration shut down a program that helps track cancer among our firefighters who we know have a much higher incidence of cancer because of what they're exposed to? What a slap in the face, in my opinion. This program passed both chambers of Congress unanimously in 2018. And now the Trump administration thinks it can completely just dismantle it as part of their chaos. On top of that, NIOSH investigates whenever firefighters are tragically lost in the line of duty to determine what went wrong and how to avoid similar accidents in the future. Yet somehow, they've decided they couldn't be bothered with investing in new ways to mitigate firefighter deaths. No closure for the families of fallen heroes, no concrete steps or recommendations on how to prevent the same fate for anyone in a similar life or death situation. To me, it's unconscionable. The administration also announced massive cuts to the U.S. Forest Service, which has resulted in firing 700 staff who helped take on blazes like the one in Ocean County. Given the rash of climate change-related forest fires around our country, we're seeing more and more fires as the climate conditions change. I don't understand why those cuts make any sense either. It just makes our country less safe. Last month, FEMA even announced that they were ending nearly all free training courses for firefighters across the country at the National Fire Academy. This was part of the administration's own, and I quote, process of evaluating agency programs and spending to ensure alignment with administration priorities. Are they admitting that it's not a priority to train firefighters? What kind of admission is that? It seems like they are. And to those standing here today, I hope you understand why I'm taking new action to get the backs of our first responders in the face of the administration's attacks and chaos. First, day in and day out, our firefighters respond to life-threatening emergencies. We can't just slash these critical federal support dollars and resources for our firefighters like the ones behind me. That's why I'm introducing new legislation, the Fight Fires and Fight Cancer Act, to stop the administration from recklessly slashing programs that support firefighters' safety, training, and health care. Our first responders always show up for us. We should never abandon them. Second, gutting the National Firefighter Cancer Registry is not efficient. It's chaos, plain and simple, and it's stupid. I'm sending a letter to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, to the Secretary there, Secretary Kennedy, demanding that he keep the Cancer Registry portal open and continue their work on firefighter-related cancer research. Do not shut this down. Promote it so that we get more information, so that we can protect the people behind me who protect us. Just as I successfully fought to secure these funds and resources to protect our firefighters through Congress, I'm going to fight every single day to ensure that they're not taken away on a whim. I'm not afraid to fight. We'll do it. Finally, fighting back against the administration won't be easy, but I don't ever back down from a tough fight. And I'm not alone. I joined 113 of my colleagues in sending a letter to Secretary Kennedy to reinstate the more than 1,500 NIOSH team members across the country who I mentioned were terminated, including those who support the World Trade Center Health Program and the Cancer Registry. I'm asking them to reverse course and do the right thing. I also joined a bipartisan letter, coming from both the House and the Senate, to the administration demanding that they reinstate all classes at the National Fire Academy, an effort that I believe makes sense. It's one that's supported by representatives from across the tri-state area, to explain how these cuts will impact our first responders who are still here, all the way to the World Trade Center affected first responders who are on the pile. We've already gotten the administrator of the World Trade Center Health Program rehired, so they're listening a little. Now we got to get them to go the next step, and I'm going to send a letter to the Forest Service to ensure that they stop cuts there. Finally, as I've said at many Jersey firehouses and in the halls of Congress, I want to be clear, early cancer detection saves lives. I've said this at firehouse after firehouse. Every firefighter across the country should have free access to life-saving cancer tests and screening. We know that whether it's the chemicals that firefighters breathe, as I mentioned, or what's on their uniforms, firefighters face a higher rate of cancer. The key is getting early detection. We've done that in New Jersey, with state laws mandating access to cancer tests and reimbursing some of the costs. And Matt Cayente and PFA&J, a key part of that. Thanks to them and the leadership of so many firefighters, that's happening. Now, we've got to do the same thing nationally. That's why I will continue to fight to pass the Bipartisan Fire Cancer Act, which I'm leading with my colleagues Mike Lawler, Laura Gillen, and Don Bacon. Bipartisan, this legislation will provide federal investments so that all firefighters across our country, whether volunteer or professional, can get access to preventative tests, including multi-cancer early detection tests. In the cancer screening program, patients are rotated through 3 providers, right? A group for skin, mouth, and lymph node evaluations, a blood test for cancer screening, and ultrasound screening for thyroid, bladder, and testicular cancer. The bottom line is that if you are a firefighter, you should be screened for cancer on a regular basis at no out-of-pocket cost to you. This is the least we can do for the sacrifices you and your families make and have made. Year in and year out, as a member of the Congressional Fire Service Caucus, I fought also to make sure that we increase funding for AFG and SAFER grants, which make a huge difference in our often cash-strapped local departments, investing in trucks, ambulances, air packs, help hire, train, and retain firefighters. Fires don't just happen 9 to 5, and the folks behind me have to work all the time to respond and be ready, missing family occasions, not seeing friends, being exhausted. Since I was elected, I've been very proud to help claw back more than $16 million for funding for AFG and SAFER grants to our towns and cities, including also AFG funding and $3 million in SAFER funding right here in Englewood. We got $250,000 for AFG and $3 million for this town, for their firefighters. That makes our communities and families safer and saves taxpayers and other wallets. I also sponsored the bipartisan Honoring Our Fallen Heroes Act to expand death and disability benefits for the families of firefighters and other first responders, and the Never Forget the Heroes Act, which we helped pass this critical legislation to extend September 11th Victim Compensation Fund. And last year, as co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, I helped champion the bipartisan Social Security Fairness Act, which is now law, ensuring that public servants and your families also receive full Social Security benefits. A huge win for our firefighters, law enforcement, educators, and more. It makes sense, and all firefighters should be taken care of when they retire. I couldn't have more respect for the people behind me and what they do every single day. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is just doing what's right by the people who protect us. It's pretty simple. And screwing them over, taking away funding for cancer research and screening, makes 0 sense, and it makes our country less safe and secure. It's unacceptable. I'm going to fight every single day until we get these resources reinstated to protect our firefighters and first responders from cancer, from other health issues, and to make sure in the greatest country in the world, when we work together, I know that our best days will always be ahead.